Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today we discuss Saquon Barkley has signed a 3-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles, and former Giants running back Tiki Barber had some very, stern, shocking criticism of Saquon Barkley joining the Eagles. You would think that kind of like the running back committee and all of the running backs in the world and kind of the crisis of like, is the running back position dead? And no one's basically signing second contracts. You'd think that like somebody like Saquon going ahead and signing a contract, a relatively decent sized contract with a contender would be something that a former running back would maybe champion. But Tiki Barber is showing his loyalty to the New York Giants here. I'll go ahead and show you this clip here of Tiki Barber saying that Saquon Barkley is dead to him. So after making this decision, so go ahead, play this clip here, and then we will talk about basically the Giants, Saquon Barkley, and maybe a little bit of Tiki Barber.
And Saquon has already taken to Twitter himself to say thank you to everyone who's shown me love and support over the past 6 years. Forever grateful. Excited for the next chapter. Blue heart emoji. Peace.
Okay, right. Blue heart emoji. I'm looking at him.
He's dead to us now.
Yeah, say it.
He's dead to us.
Because he won't say it.
You're dead to us, Saquon. Good.
Dang. And just so people know, I know that was a short clip there, but this is something that basically all these guys like backed up the next day. But like, yeah, dude, like what are you doing? Like you went to the enemy. We're going to have some criticism of you. And basically kind of like, I think the belief is with a lot of people too, especially when they hear that, when they see that Saquon, maybe Giants fans think this too. They see that he went to the Eagles, which is obviously a very, long-standing division rival with the New York Giants, that like, how dare Saquon go to a rival? How dare he do that? Why wouldn't he want to stay with the Giants, build something there and try to win something in New York City? Well, guys, I want to tell you about this because basically it's like, another thing that New York people are saying is like Saquon Barkley ruined his legacy with the New York Giants. Guys, the New York Giants didn't care about Saquon's legacy. Do you want to know why? Because this was reported by Bleacher Report. The New York Giants did not offer Saquon Barkley a contract. In this free agency, they did not offer him a contract. It was the Bears, the Texans, and the Eagles, and he chose the Eagles. Probably because he wants to win a championship. So the Giants didn't care about his legacy. The Giants didn't want to re-sign him. They could have re-signed him last offseason after, in my opinion, if you looked at that 2022 season, the Giants, as you guys probably remember, they go on a run with Brian Dable, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, make the playoffs, beat the Vikings, win a playoff game. Honestly, going back to that season, in the moment, I thought Saquon Barkley was way more important for them winning 9 games than Daniel Jones was. And you know what? The Giants decided to do that offseason. Again, that's my opinion. You can have a different opinion. They decided to give Daniel Jones the bag, and they decided to franchise tag Saquon Barkley. They could have franchise tagged Daniel Jones and signed Barkley to a contract. They could have done that, but the Giants did not want to keep Saquon Barkley, and they just didn't care about his legacy. Now, I don't necessarily blame the Giants for not signing Saquon Barkley when you have all this money committed to Daniel Jones, when you traded for Brian Burns and gave him a bunch of money, when you already made a dumb decision and gave Kenny Golladay a bunch of money. But that's kind of my point here, and I wanted to use this kind of as a segue to talk about the Giants as a whole. Because I think the Giants do not get nearly enough of the criticism that they should get for being an absolutely garbage franchise. They're not a good NFL franchise, and I think that's mostly shadowed by the fact that they share the stadium with the Jets, who I believe are on the longest playoff drought in the NFL currently. The fact that in their division they have the Cowboys that are always creating a bunch of crazy news. They have the Washington Commanders that have had one of the worst centuries out of every team basically since the turn of the century. And also too, the fact that they had the 2 Eli Super Bowls kind of covers everything up for how bad the Giants have been. If you guys actually look at the Eli Manning career, he's a guy it's weird. It's a weird case for the Hall of Fame. He might make the Hall of Fame. He might not. I personally don't think he should, but this is a guy that was he's the first pick in the draft. He finished his career as a 500 level quarterback and was supposedly playing for this great franchise, Tom Coughlin, for several years. Outside of those 2 Super Bowl runs, guys, that Eli Manning had, though they did not win a playoff game any other year Eli Manning was the starting quarterback for the Giants. Outside of those 2 playoff runs. And since they won that first Super Bowl, I believe, hold on, let me look this up. Yeah. So since they won the first Super Bowl in 2007, they made the playoffs 3 more times, Eli. The other time was the very next year. The time after that was the Super Bowl win. And from that time, from 2009 to 2015, they made the playoffs once. They won that 2011 Super Bowl. They make the playoffs again 2016. That's the Odell boat trip. And then they make the playoffs last year, win a playoff game. And that's it. They made the playoffs 3 times in, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years. 3 times in 15 years. The Giants are not a well-run organization. And even too, look at like what happened with Christian McCaffrey with the Panthers. Even though I think the Panthers are a terribly run organization too, but at least, they signed Christian McCaffrey and they were able to like trade him for a few picks. I think they traded him for like 3 picks. Like, why not just re-sign Saquon and then, try? Because even if you guys, if we could go back in the past and we could go to the Giants in the let's go back a year ago at this time. What if they would have franchised Daniel Jones and re-signed Barkley? They probably could have just given up Daniel Jones right now and be like, all right, see ya. Bye-bye. We have like the 6th pick in the draft. We're going to draft a quarterback. We might give a bunch of stuff to trade up. That's something that they could have done, and they could have moved on. Even when they drafted Saquon Barkley too, was kind of weird because he was the 2nd pick in the draft, and they drafted a running back. And even if you look at like this is where I will be a little critical of Saquon Barkley, is if you look at his stats, guys, it's not as impressive as you would think. It's really not as impressive for where he was drafted. He's made 2 Pro Bowls, and basically he had the season last 2022 that they made the playoffs, and then it's his rookie season. And other than that, it's kind of like he obviously had like the 2 years where he tore the ACL, and then the year after the torn ACL, those were his 2 worst seasons. And then he had this past season that wasn't that good, and his second season wasn't necessarily the best either. So you could say too, to counter that and be like, hey, well, the Giants have had a terrible offensive line, terrible quarterback play around him, and terrible wide receiver play. So it's basically the Saquon show, and it's easier for defenses to kind of scheme in on him when it's just him. And the fact that now that he's on the Eagles, and you have Jalen Hurts, who's a running threat and throwing threat, you have A.J. Brown on the outside, Devontae Smith on the outside. You have, I believe they still have Dallas Goedert too. Just wanted to say, I believe, just in case he left or something. I don't think he did though. I think I would have saw him getting signed. But now you're joining this Eagles team where I can't tell too, because you listen to some Eagles people and it's like, well, maybe the fact that like the running backs haven't necessarily been the most productive, like that could be a Jalen Hurts thing. That could be, maybe it's a way of like how they use the running backs thing. But hey, man, the Eagles just got another interesting piece here, and we might, I don't know, maybe are we going to see maybe a breakout Saquon Barkley season? Maybe a little revenge season for this Giants situation that just happened. I'd love to see that. I'm a fan of Saquon's, but yeah, there you have it, guys. I just kind of wanted to do this video, talk about kind of how crappy the Giants are as an organization. And, I don't care that Saquon left for the Eagles, but also the Giants didn't offer him. And it might be the best thing for, I don't know if it's the best thing for the Giants, because the Giants kind of have to get out of their own way. They have Daniel Jones on all this money for multiple years now, and they're spending a lot of money on defense now after that Brian Burns contract, which is kind of eye-popping. Yeah, we'll kind of see what happens this next NFL season. We'll see who was right. So there you have it. That's going to do it for this video today. Let me know what you think in the comments. That really helps us out, gives me feedback. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. If you like content like this, we talk NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, all kinds of stuff, some sports media stuff here and there. So if you like any of that stuff, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out in the algorithm. So thank you very much for watching. Sorry, I can't talk, and I will talk to you next time.